Hi everyone, this is Alan. On one of my neighborhood walks this week, I found some sticks on the ground with these strange bumps on it. These bumps are called galls, and galls are growths on plants made by certain kinds of insects. So the short story is that an insect lays its egg onto a part of a plant that's going to grow, say a bud or a tiny leaf, and the egg and the larva send these chemicals to the plant that causes the plant to create a gall. The larva lives inside the gall and it gets its nutrition from the plant. And then when it's time for it to become an adult, it goes through its pupation inside the gall, and then it hatches out, and you might be able to see the little hole there. Now this particular kind of gall is called an oak bullet gall, and it's made by a wasp. Not what you normally think of as a wasp, but a teeny tiny wasp, something you wouldn't even think was really a wasp. This kind of gall is only on bur oak trees around here. So I looked around and I saw a lot. When I show you this, you probably aren't thinking of, say, the Declaration of Independence, or Leonardo da Vinci, or Johann Sebastian Bach. But galls like this are an important ingredient in one of the most widely used inks in European and American history. It's called iron gall ink, and it's been used for over 1,000 years. Ancient Romans used it, medieval artists used it, and people in early parts of American history used it to write some of the most important documents in our history. It's important because it doesn't fade and it doesn't get damaged by water. Now that might not seem particularly impressive to us now. We have chemical inks now that will do those same things, but it's very, very unusual for natural inks to not fade and not run. So I found some recipes for iron gall ink, and I thought I'd give it a try. I've never made ink before, so we'll see how it goes. These oak galls are quite abundant in the trees around my home. I found this tree. It was only a couple of feet tall, but it was covered. I got most of my galls from this one. I collected about a cup. I crushed the galls with what I had. The finer, the better. All told, I ended up with about a half a cup of crushed galls. I covered the galls in boiling water and let them sit. At first, the water turned a light tan, but after it sat for several hours, the water was a very, very dark brown. The recipe calls for mixing this extract with ferrous sulfate, which I got from my iron supplements. I took a couple of tablets and crushed them up. As they sat, they turned green. I strained out the galls through a sieve and then a coffee filter. It was kind of a coffee colored or tea colored, but after I added the iron, it turned a really dark, dark black. The last step is to add a binder or a thickener. Gum arabic is the most common thickener. After that, it can be used with a dip pen or a brush. As you can see, it goes on kind of a lightish grayish black, and as it sits, it will turn slightly darker black. I was pretty pleased with how this ink turned out, but I think I would do things differently later on. It is still kind of light and kind of thin. I might soak my galls for a longer time. Some recipes call for soaking them for even a week. And I wasn't real careful with the amount of iron that I added. So I'd say this turned out pretty well, and I want to keep experimenting.